Hey, Bright Lights, welcome back to the Space Doctor series on the Architecting channel. I'm so excited to have you with me. The science behind how space makes us feel is something I am super lit up about. I've spent my whole career as an architect, as a researcher, and a feng shui practitioner, really doing deep dives into this. And I've made it my mission to make it really easy for everyone to understand, something that's fun, something that in every episode there's manageable bite-sized takeaways so you can remember what you learned and hopefully use it that week in your life to make things better. So we're going to use my Salutogenesis card deck, which is divided into two parts. Foundational concepts. These are the basic bioscience and social dynamics, things like that are afoot in the world we encounter. And then the 5 aspects of salutogenesis. These are 5 main theories that my research has shown really do have fundamental impacts on 5 different parts of what comprises well-being. These are also associated with the 5 elements of feng shui, and they really do go together. A lot of people dismiss feng shui, but there is real science behind what those ancient people were able to observe about space, and more of these concepts are being proven in modern science. So I love tying them together. I will draw a card from each of those 2 aspects and then talk specifically about what it means to think about those 2 things together. That's why you're going to want to like and subscribe, because when I talk about a card, you're going to learn something different because of what its companion card is. So let's get started. The card that I drew from Foundational Concepts for this week is Neuroplasticity. Now, that is basically our brain's ability to evolve, right? So we have these neural pathways and synapses that fire, but if you've ever heard the term where thoughts go, energy flows, that is exactly what happens in our body. Our brain forms these linkages. And you could kind of think about it like the way that water rolls downhill, and over time with erosion, you get a little creek and then a stream and then a river, and that eventually, if it's strong enough, will form a whole canyon, right? Those neural pathways that we use the most get the strongest. And if we want to make a change, it takes effort then, because we've got to redirect them, but it is possible. That is what neuroplasticity is all about. We form habits, we form beliefs, we form thought chains all the time. Now, is it going to take more conscious awareness and effort to change something that you've thought for a long time? Absolutely. But is it possible? Again, yes. So you could see on this card, we've got a brain that is lit up, and we've got lots of different networks and pathways. And that's what I want you to remember, is that nothing is ever fixed. We have choice, we have agency in life. If something in your life is not to your liking, you absolutely can make that change. So now let's talk about the companion card, which is from the aspects part of the deck, and it is calming cues. Now, calming cues is coming from the theory of relaxation response, and it is associated with the feng shui element of water. Water is all about transformation and healing, the ability to release, let go, go with the flow. Now, specifically, calming cues. What are these? These can be anything from a specific practice, like maybe you like to take a walk or meditate. do deep breathing or mindfulness exercises, or general lifestyle changes that you want to make. Whatever they are things that are telling your brain, oh yeah, this is what I need to do now. So, for example, if you like to do deep breathing when you feel nervous, not only is there a benefit that comes from the breath work itself, but the practice of doing it tells your brain, oh, yeah, now it's time to calm down. And it starts to build a new neural pathway. Now, this can also happen with things in the built environment, not just practices that you might choose to engage in. So, when we have a space that creates a calm setting for us, our body can then start to say, oh, yeah, now I can relax. And as you can imagine, it is even more powerful when you put the practices together with the environment that supports them. And now you're going to have, a 10x effect. It isn't a 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like a 1 + 1 = 5 or 10. It's that powerful. And when we use this idea of neuroplasticity, we can learn to respond with calm, with resilience. We can build up those neural pathways. And the great thing is, just like if you go to the gym and you build a muscle, it becomes easier than when you encounter a stressful situation to have a calm response, just because your body now has that skill and trained within it that, oh, when I feel stress, I revert to this practice or I go to this place, even if I'm imagining being there in my mind, that is going to still have a very powerful impact on you. A lot of times when I do workshops, I'll tell people to imagine a place where they feel joy and calm. And just doing that, our body doesn't know the difference. Our body reacts as if we were actually there. But let's get into some of what we're trying to do with this card. So you can see the evening sky. This is all about magic, the liminal realms, reaching into that unknown and developing higher levels of perception and consciousness. The forest that we're in is about growth, gaining perspective. The lake, the calm lake that's reflective, that is about the wisdom, the understanding, that connection between what we know and experience every day consciously in the physical world and the depths that are within our own capacity to choose one up, to choose differently, to be introspective and respond instead of react. The moon represents intuition, right? Having that deep knowing that I have a choice. I don't have to just have that knee jerk reaction to something upsetting. I can choose something different. I can trust my instincts. I can absolutely face my fears and get clarity in a situation, because many times when we're in a stressful situation, we are triggered, and a lot of the things that are upsetting us may not be true. It's just that we are so reminded overwhelmingly of something that is scary to us that we project those fears onto whatever the current situation is. So, using calming cues really does help us to reframe that situation to say, is that assumption I'm making really true? And how do I want to respond so I can stay empowered, and I can keep moving forward in my life instead of going into an emotional tailspin. So, some of the things you can do in addition to calming activities are learning something new, getting more comfortable with change and pivoting, things like travel or any kind of creative expression. Those all help to create that calm within your body. And even more, when we travel or we do something creative, we're producing some kind of artifacts. You can have a souvenir from the travel, you can have a piece of pottery or a drawing or painting that you created. And now you can put those into your physical environment, and they are further reinforcing these calming cues. Again, in feng shui, you can add things like a water feature, like maybe a pond in your yard or a water fountain indoors or outdoors, soft, natural lighting that is color tuned. So remember, we want warmer color tones in the early morning and evening, and we're going to gradually fade to more yellow and only have those bluer shades of light, those really bright lights in the middle of the day. Having that gradual warming of the color of our light naturally tells our body to calm down, relax, that it's time to rest. We want to think about having softer textures around us. Think using faux furs or fluffier materials, things that automatically make us think about coziness. Aromatherapy is another great thing. And if you are an architect or an interior designer, there's aromatherapy that can even be placed within the HVAC ductwork. So you can use, say, lemon if you want to stimulate and invigorate people, or lavender if you want calming, or vanilla. So there are ways that we very deeply are attuned in our sense of smell. It's one of our most primal senses. So having smells that are calming goes a long way. Also, think about sound. You can have a white noise machine, sounds of water or waves, birds. Those can all be very soothing. Any artwork that represents tranquility, peaceful moments, calm, still water, or healthy blooming plants, any of those kinds of depictions in the artwork, you want to stay away from the storm painting or the painting or artwork that represents something depressing or violent. We want uplifting, calm images. Also, the power of physical sunlight or moonlight, sitting next to a sun-filled window or going outside. That also is very much a feeling of calm. I like to joke that I am photosynthetic because to me, one of the most calming feelings of all is just laying in the sun. And when the sun hits my skin, it's just like this blanket, those heavy, calming, weighted blankets. That's what sunlight feels like on my skin. And I just feel this like light pressure that's just soothing and pushing away all of the stress. And of course, having power positions, having your back to a solid wall so no one can sneak up on you, that's going to help you to feel calm. Having solid headboard behind your bed, anything like that is also going to help you to feel less anxiety, more calm, more centered. So, as we wrap up today, remembering that we do have the ability to rewire our brain and that we can leverage that ability, that neuroplasticity, to build up our ability to be calmer in the face of change or in the face of situations that produce anxiety. And we can reinforce those practices within our built environment by thinking about the calming cues we can put into our space. So, thank you so much for being with me today. Please share what you are learning. I love hearing about it and knowing how this is helping you think a little bit different and not just accept as a default the space that you find yourself in, but to realize you have the power to change it. And if you have been with me this whole time and you haven't already liked and subscribed, it really helps me out, really helps more people to learn about the power of the science behind design so we can all have a better experience in our space. So make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.